The neighbor, this is the neighbor's car, told me, you know, Antonio, actually it wasn't him. Believe it or not, it was his son. As a matter of fact, while I was working on the family cars, a little boy yelled from across his yard, can you please help my daddy? His air conditioning isn't working anymore. So here we are. We're going to help our fellow man figure out why his air conditioning system isn't working anymore. So we're going to do some troubleshooting. But before actually we do the troubleshooting, I already did that part. I already know what's wrong with it. But I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot the system to find out when you have a major leak and how to address that. Let's jump right in. By the way, this is a Honda Accord. It's a 2005 Honda Accord 4-cylinder, and it's leaking bad in the AC system. Let's jump right in. On this particular Honda Accord 4-cylinder model 2005, the high and low pressure ports are located on the passenger side next to each other, which is actually rather convenient, I must say. So what we're going to do is let's make sure that these manifold valves are closed right here, and we're going to open these ones here. And to do so, you actually go clockwise to press the Schrader valves in. We're currently open, and we have no pressure. This car has literally lost all its refrigerant. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some troubleshooting here. I'm going to show you how we're going to do it the EPA-friendly way. So we are going to close the high-pressure side. We're going to keep the low-pressure side open. We're going to keep this closed, open this side here so that we can actually blow some compressed air. Well, I do have a small compressor back here, and being that the low-pressure side works at the maximum of about 50 psi. We regulated the regulator, which is this part right here, to about 40 psi. We're going to shoot some air. Let's see if we could come up with something, see if we could get something. So we're going to shoot air. Oh, I hear something. It's not even holding. You hear it? Oh, look at that. We have a small hole here. So this condenser is actually shot. And that's probably why this gentleman's air conditioning is not working. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be removing the condenser. Let me show you how that's done. Let's disconnect all these gauges, and we're going to create all the access for the removal and replacement of the condenser on the AC system. As always, guys, get yourself one of these if it is available. This is a maintenance manual that will give you all the torque specs and all the necessary tooling and equipment that you need to get the job done. So let's go ahead and disconnect this gauge, and we'll go over what it takes to make this job happen. All right, so first thing we'll be doing is removing this plastic shroud, and it has some super quick releases that I really like. So all we really need is a Phillips screwdriver and this and a flathead screwdriver to remove these clips. I gotta tell you though, what guys, sometimes it can be easier said than done. This is an older car, so I have a better tool. Stand by. Okay, let's try it again. We're going to try with a fork-like device here to help remove these. Here it is. We got one out. Hallelujah. Put that right there for now. Look at that. This tool looks like it was made for it. Imagine so as you can see, there are several of them too, so. Oh, this one broke. This. The plastic is brittle. Guys, the car is old. But let's be gentle as we can be. Removing these. Then I'll just pass it on to the owner of this car. Let him know, hey, look, you might want to consider buying some of these plastic fasteners. They shouldn't be too expensive. Probably a few cents a piece. All right, so we took almost. We got one more right here. There are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the quick releases. If I can take it off, and two of the screwdriver like. All right, guys, let me take this off and we'll get back to you. Okay, we have removed this cover right here for to get access to the radiator and the condenser, and unfortunately these two plastic, I don't know if you can see it, but this one here where the the Phillips screw went. There's only two of them, this one here and this one here over here. The plastic was brittle and broke. I'm gonna have to tell the neighbor, like, hey buddy, I'm sorry, the plastic broke. You're gonna have to stop by the dealer and get yourself new plastic screws because unfortunately they broke. Next is this cover over here that you'll have to remove, and you just pull on these two pins right here, and all you do is pull this up like so. That's it. This is out. Okay, we did take this plastic shroud that will need to be removed to tilt the radiator, but I neglected to mention, guys, the procedures do state to disconnect the negative from the battery, so do so just in case. Hey, look, just follow procedures, buddy. That's your release of liability. Next comes these two brackets. It's being held in place by these 10 millimeter bolts. There's going to be this one here, and then there's going to be this one over here. And this will hold the radiator in place, like so. If at all possible, put the hardware back in place so that you don't lose it. Same goes for this side right here. Okay, the 10 millimeter bolt is out. This is the way it comes out, is you tip it back because you see there's this this key right here. So now we can tilt this back to some degree to get access to the condenser. Now we did end up removing the mask in front that sits right under the plastic cover for the radiator, and it has the same clips as the radiator cover, so that we have better access to this 10 millimeter bolt. That's the next thing we're going to remove, is the pressure line to the condenser, this one here. I'll disconnect that. Once we remove the bolt, we can wiggle this line out like so. Alright, we have the lower line disconnected. We'll just put it aside for now. We'll have to replace the O-rings. Next, we'll disconnect the high pressure switch from the condenser. Let's put this bolt back for now. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, next we squeeze the tabs. This switch should come right off. Should. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This connection was actually a struggle. As you can see, this part here of the clip is what you have to try to bend back to pull this up, and the plastic is very brittle. You try to squeeze it here, and it just broke the plastic. What you can do to try to bend back this tab to pull the connector up from the high pressure switch is you can use something like this. It's like a pick, or something more along the lines of maybe something like this, because I have several of these. Either, well, not a straight one, but probably either a 90-degree one, or yeah, like a 90-degree one, or maybe even a hook one. I have a hook one in here. I just can't find it right now. Is this it? Yeah, here's the hook right here. Then maybe this will help to try to move that clip to undo the switch. But anyway, the switch is done. We're gonna go ahead and remove this bolt out of the way so that we'll save it. Okay, we got the switch disconnected. We got the line on the bottom disconnected. We can now remove. Then let's see what else is here. We will do the brackets, and we'll try to remove the upper line as well, the low pressure line. As far as the low pressure line goes, we'll have to remove this 10 millimeter nut right here, and then we could dislodge the line out of the way. And but I don't know if I'll be able to have a camera in here for you guys while I remove that nut and move the line back. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll show what it's going to look like when it's done. And that is what it looks like, guys. I would have loved to have a camera for you to watch this, but it's just a 10 millimeter nut. you undo the nut and you just pull out the low pressure line. So we got the high pressure line disconnected on the bottom. We disconnected the switch. We disconnected the low pressure line. Now we can move on to disconnecting the last two parts of this assembly, which is this bolt right here, which holds the condenser. And we're gonna do the same thing right here on this other side, this bolt right there, you see it? And let's do that. I'm gonna prop you up I'm gonna prop up this camera and we're gonna make it happen. All right, the last two 10mm bolts for the bracket of the condenser. Whew, I gotta tell you guys, it's a hot one today. Okay, this one did. Okay, it looks like it's a keyed bolt. Now let's go ahead and do the other one on the other side, which is right here. We'll use a shorter socket. Stand by. Okay, let's take a look. That's it. Looks like the condenser is now free to be removed. Let's see if we can pull this out. So now that we got all the hardware removed, we should be able to pop this out. And here it is. It's coming, guys. It's coming. Here it is. Behold, the condenser is out. And this one comes with the receiver dryer, and so does the new one that the owner of this car already picked up. So now what we're gonna do is actually we're gonna start removing all the hardware and components, and we're gonna put it on a new condenser. Grommets, switches, and whatever it is needed to go on the other side. So let's do that. Now that we have the condenser, the receiver dryer out, it's now time to move the components from the old unit to the new unit. We'll have to remove these brackets here and install them on a new one, and also the grommets. The grommets seem to be a different size. This one's seem to be a little bit smaller, whereas the original one, they're a little bit bigger. So we'll just install the original grommets on the new condenser, because the holes where this sits in are actually this size right here. So we'll just remove the new one, the old one, the new ones, and install the old ones. Okay. Next, we'll remove the switch. The procedures say to remove it, install a new O-ring, which we have, but it doesn't provide a torque spec. So what we'll do is we'll replace the O-ring on it. We'll put a new O-ring, and then we'll just we'll torque it to Japanese torque spec, getting tight. Procedures does say to tighten it by hand and then just snug and nice. Now before you throw away your old O-rings, be sure that the new O-rings fit. So this one seems to be a little bit on the bigger side, so I just have to dig through all these O-rings, and there's a lot of them in this thing. Woo! There's a lot of them. There it is. There's the old one. It looks like this is the new one that would fit on here. Let's see. Yeah, it's about the same dimensions, the same diameter. Let's try this one. Oh, this one is a little bit too big. These are all the same size. Yeah, this seems to be the only one that fits the bill. So what we'll do is we'll put some PEG 46 AC oil on it. There it is. And then we'll install the new O-ring, and like so, and we'll install it on the new condenser. All right, let's put this on. Hopefully it'll hold the vacuum. We'll know if it'll work or not. And 24 millimeter is the size of the wrench for the pressure switch. And that's it, guys. Nice and snug, and we are done with that. Pressure switch is installed. We can now move on to these brackets right here. This bracket here is retained by a 7 millimeter bolt. So I'll pull this off. This goes on the passenger side. And for this bracket, it's actually a 10 millimeter. So we'll use a 10 millimeter socket. Let's take this one off. Sure is a beautiful day, guys. It sure is a beautiful day. Okay. We got all the hardware off of the old condenser receiver jar, so we can now put this aside. We no longer need this. We can install all the components on a new condenser. Install this like this. Put the nut on it. And the torque on this bracket to the torque on this nut for the bracket to the condenser is 86 inch-pounds. We'll just torque this down to 86 inch-pounds. And we are there. Whereas the other side, the bolt goes through the hole because that is what holds the line on the front end, and it's kept in place by a small 7 millimeter nut. But this one just doesn't give you, procedures don't provide a torque spec, so being that it's a very small nut, we're just going to do getting tight, nothing crazy. All this does is hold the bracket in place. And that's it. Nice and snug. All right. So this condenser is ready to go in. And what we're going to need to do next is actually install new O-rings on the lines that connect to the condenser. So let's do that. Let me show you where they're at. This is the old O-ring for the low pressure line. This is the new O-ring. You see it? They're about the same size. We're going to do a little bit nice and with the PEG 46 oil. And we install the new O-ring like a one-hand job. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. I should be able to, and bam. Okay, we got the low pressure line. Now we're going to disconnect the high pressure line over here, and we're going to look for a suitable replacement ring and do the same thing on the bottom. Okay, we removed the O-ring from the high pressure line, and this seems to be the perfect fitting for it. We'll anoint it with some peg oil, like so, and we'll stick it in. I usually use picks like this to remove the O-rings from the... So let's try to put this baby in. Hopefully I could do it with one hand. And let me see, and here we go. Let's try it. You know, I guess there's that saying that goes, if it was easy, I guess everybody be doing this, right? Thankfully the kit comes with 157 different O-rings, and 14 of them are the same size. So for whatever reason, this one fails. One hand. If I could do this with one hand, I will be impressed with myself. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to put the camera down. I can't do this with one hand. Okay, we got the new O-ring in place. I don't know if you can see it. Here it is. It's colored green. And we got the low pressure on, and we can now slide the new condenser into place. So I'm going to prop you up on a stand right here so you guys can witness the whole thing. Okay, we can now drop the new condenser in place. Like so. And spread it open. You should know how to do that already. Okay, oh, look at that. It just fell right in place like it was meant to be. Look at that. That's impressive. Okay, let's make sure that the line's out of the way so that the grommets could fall into place. Okay, that's in place. And that's also in place. Okay, we can now hook up the lines and we can hook up the connections. So let's do that. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. Okay, we can now connect to the high pressure line. Kind of snug it in. Let's see if I can make this happen. I don't know if you can still see. There it is. It went in. Put the bolt in. Okay. Let's snug it with a ratchet. And the torque on this is also 86 inch-pounds. As always, guys, I know you hear me advocate this all the time, but if at all possible, make sure your stuff is calibrated. There it is. Now we can hook up the low pressure line, which sits right here, and it's going to go right to that. I don't know if you can see it. You see, it's going to go right to that. Sorry, let me unhook you real quick. While we're at it, we can also now connect the high pressure switch. Let's see if I can make this happen without getting in your way. Let's see, is it going like this? There it is. The switch is back in. Okay, now let's see if we can find a way for you to see how that low pressure line gets connected. Let's now connect the low pressure line, and we're gonna have to go through the stud. There it is, like so. Let's push this line all the way through. There it is. It's engaged. Not the line, but the O-ring. So we can now put the nut on it without dropping it. Sometimes, guys, I gotta, see what I just did, guys? That's what you don't want to do. Let me find that nut first, and then we'll get back to you. I promise you guys, I did really want you to see how I managed to get that nut on there, but, you know, sometimes I just can't show you everything. You gotta leave some stuff to the imagination. See, I do this for you. If you get to see everything all the time, then, you know,
You got no room for imagination. Now move this back a little bit, and the torque on this, I just got to turn it on first. Well, let's go ahead and actually snug it down with a wrench first. So this way, when we apply the torque, it won't be too hard. So what we're gonna do is snug it down. Okay, now we can put a torque wrench on it. Like again, this is also 86 foot-pounds. I mean, not 86 foot-pounds. 86 inch-pounds. There it is. Let's verify. Let's make sure. Now there's a reason why you said, but why don't you go ahead and, like I said earlier, I need to make sure that this thing is not leaking, so that's why I'm going through all this trouble to torque down the lines and start pulling vacuum right away. Okay, this is torqued down. We're now going to hook up the vacuum pump while we cinch down the rest of the hardware. Okay, to recap what we did, we hooked up the two AC lines to the new condenser, the low and the high pressure sides. We put new O-rings, and we also put a new O-ring on the pressure switch. All down there, we connected the pressure switch with the electrical connector, torqued down the switch. So we are ready. Everything is closed up. We are now ready to pull a vacuum and add oil. Now, this is what we're gonna do. These two valves are closed right now. What we're gonna do is we are going to open these two valves right here, and to do so, you go clockwise. This one is open, and so is this one here. Being it's a closed system, the high and the low pressure side are interconnected and they work together. We're going to keep this closed, and we're going to open this one, and we're going to start pulling a vacuum and add oil. Let's turn the vacuum pump on, and I'm going to show you how to add oil. Now, the procedures state that if you put a new condenser in, you have to add 5/6 of an ounce, whereas if you put a new receiver dryer, and this particular setup came together, receiver dryer, which is that canister on the right side, right on the driver's side, this one here, this is your condenser, 1/3 of an ounce. So that's 7/6 of an ounce, which equals about 29.5 and change cc's. So we're gonna put 30 cc's in it because this thing was been open for a while, and it probably siphoned out some of the oil as well. So let's go ahead and start the vacuum pump. We're now drawing air out of the system, and it should be sucking out of here. It is. Let's go ahead and charge the syringe to add the oil. Okay, so we cannot add oil. We're going to do so on the high side. This is the first 12 of the 30 cc. I'm going to close this up. Let's charge it again. Now, mind you guys, make sure you use the proper oil. For the R134A, you're supposed to use PEG 46, but nevertheless, always follow all procedures. Verify with the owner's manual, verify with the manufacturer, and verify, verify, verify. Okay, and the last shot. We're just doing a half a syringe. See what I just did? Yeah, don't do that. That's what slobs do. That's about right. We're gonna put the last of the oil in here. Being that we're only sucking from the low side, this is going to circulate the whole oil throughout the whole AC system. We can now hook up the line. And that's it. Now we're just going to pull a vacuum for about an hour and a half. We'll figure it out. We'll see how it goes. We can now, while we're pulling the vacuum, tighten all this hardware down. So this way, you know, we could be more efficient with our time. All right, let's do the same thing on the other side. That hold the condenser against the frame of the car might fight you, so now you might have to, this one is snug down. We're gonna snug this one back down again. Had to loosen it up. And then we're gonna torque them down. And the torque on these two brackets is also 86 inch-pounds. Let's grab the torque wrench. And first one. There you go. Now we can torque the second one. As always, guys, I always recommend to get your stuff calibrated. Find a local calibration shop nearby the house. If at all possible, try to get your stuff calibrated at least once a year. All right, so we can now put the brackets for that holds the radiator in place. This one here, be sure that you engage this tooth here into this hole here like so, and put the radiator, put the bolt for the radiator in place like so. You'll know that this one here goes on the driver's side because this is where your prop-up stick for the hood engages. So we can now install this other one here. Same concept, make sure this is in the hole. Put this one here like so, and put the bolts in. Let's grab a torque wrench and find out what the torque on these bolts is. Once you got the bolts snug down with a ratchet, the torque on these is 104 inch-pounds. Same thing here. There we go. We can now put the plastic covering back on. All right, the next piece we're going to put in is this one here. It's a little bit tricky how it goes in because the clips are engaged. They engage from the bottom. So, and this is what the clips look like. So let's see if maybe do it from the bottom of the bumper. Let's see. Or maybe from here. Yeah, it looks like it's okay to do it from the top like this. Next we put this piece in. And just be careful, it's a bit of a puzzle, so you know, so make sure the plastic engages properly. There you go. All right, we're all within. Let's go get the fasteners. These are also quick connects. And just push in like so.
And you have 6 of these, or 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 is 10, and then you have the 2 screws. Okay, so we got several of the new ones in place because they had broken, and the best one of the old ones we put in place. And then we got your last 2. They're on the side here. There are the screw type. Just kind of slap them in and just oh, it looks like they didn't even have to screw in. Look at that, just went right in. Okay, well, I guess that's how they work. All right, so now we can put this canister back in place for the air intake, which is this one here. And all you have to do is engage it. Get it down here first. There it is. Make sure it snaps in place down here like so. And this one go, and these ones go here, go in like that, and like that. That's it. We are done with access. We can actually reconnect the battery, and we would do well to actually clean this battery terminal as well. So let's do that. We'll grab a 10mm, because you see, in my world, you don't just do what is damaged. You also look around and make sure that if there's anything that needs to be addressed, such as, for example, this terminal that looks like it's corroded, well then, by God, let's fix the corroded terminal as well. So let's get a brush and clean this as well. Like so. Create a good contact. Clean the inside of it. Like so. We can put this back in now. At least the contact's better. Okay, this is good and snug. Doesn't move. We can contact the negative one. And that is it, my friend. All the access that we did has been closed up again. Now all we have to do is make sure that this pump is done pulling a vacuum, then we'll close the valve and make sure that this thing holds the vacuum for at least an hour. Okay, it's been over an hour. We're gonna close this valve here. Make sure that this one is also closed, and we could shut off the vacuum pump, make sure that this thing holds the vacuum for at least an hour. We are currently at 28 inches of mercury negative pressure vacuum. If this thing holds for at least an hour, I am confident this thing will be just fine. And we'll put the Freon in. In this particular case, this car takes a 134A. And as I have mentioned it before, guys, temperatures and pressures are irrelevant because they are subject to the outside air temperature. In this case, this car takes, I can't quite tell, it does say 134A. The refrigerant quantity is 19.4 ounces for a max, or 17.8 ounces for a minimum. All right, so long as this thing holds a vacuum for an hour, we'll put 19.4 ounces of R134A. So it's been a little over an hour, and I suspect that there is a minor leak, because after a little over an hour, it went from 28, I think it looks like just under 28 inches of mercury of a vacuum. So what we'll do, because I don't know where this leak is, it could possibly be
where the repairs were done with too high and low pressure lines on the condenser or the switch, because they had an O-ring also, or there may be a leak somewhere else. So what we'll do is we'll charge it with the Freon or the R134A, and then we'll let it run for a few days, and then I'll plug in the sniffer overnight, we'll charge it, and we'll see where this leak can possibly be. But for the time being, let's go ahead and charge it. So what we'll do is, okay, so this is closed, all the valves are closed. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna hook this up here. We're gonna hook up this fitting. Like so. And then we'll hook up this valve, a cutoff valve, like so. And the reason why we're doing this, so we're gonna pull a vacuum from inside the line, because there's vacuum right now. There's vacuum inside these two lines, but there is ambient air in these two in this yellow line. So in the meantime, I'm going to pull vacuum inside the yellow line. What we can also do in the meantime is set up the R134 tank. We'll put it on top of the scale. And then what we'll do is set up the charge for this car, which is 19.4 ounces max charge. So what we'll do is we'll come over here, we'll set up the charge and hit 19.4 ounces and hit enter. So once this thing empties out 19.4 ounces, it'll start beeping and we can close the valve. So in the meantime, the line has been vacuumed. We're going to close this valve right here, shut the pump off, and disconnect this. We have a vacuum in the line as well, and we will still prime it before we open the we allow the R134 into the system. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and reset it, because it looks like 6.2 ounces went in, when in reality nothing went in. So we're going to stop it. Hook up the line first, because it's going to calculate the weight with the line as well. So now we could do a charge. And the charge for this car is at 19.4 ounces. Enter. Now from here on out, any gas that goes inside the car will be calculated. So what we're going to do is we're going to open the ball valve. We're going to open the tank. Now, mind you, these are closed right now. Okay, we got 0.4 ounces into the line. We can now open the low pressure side. And so far it took 2.2, 2.4, and it's still going up, 2.6. Okay, the pressures between the tank and the car low pressure side have equalized. We can now start up the car and run the car. What we're going to do is we're going to run the car with the AC on max, but without recycling the inside air, just max, but without recycling. Okay, we are 5.2, 5.4, we're taking in the ounces. We're going all the way up to 19.4 is going to start beeping. That's when we shut off this valve right here. This is what the pressures look like so far. We're at 8.2 ounces, 8.4. We are almost there, 14 ounces.
16 ounces. $17, $18, $19. There it is. We are there. We have 19.4 ounces in the system. Now we're going to let it run for a little bit. And here we have the pressures look about right too. All right, we're going to let it run for a little bit, finish the sucking all the Freon in the meantime, or all the R134. And we are done, guys. We are currently running 22 on the low side to 260, 270, no what, 255, 254 on the high side, and 22 on the low side. I'm very happy with the pressures, but they're a function of the temperature they're on the outside right now. It does have the right amount of Freon in the system, and let's see what kind of temperatures we're blowing. Woo, it's cold. Okay, this thing is currently blowing. Look at that, dropping, dropping, dropping. Oh yeah, this thing is cold. This thing is cold. 30 Fahrenheit. That is it, guys. Mission accomplished. The job is done. If this video was a help to you, share with your friends. Smash that like button. Remember to subscribe to the channel. And we will see you at the next video, guys. Take care.